take a nostalgic trip back to the 1970s and revisit the iconic sitcom Good Times, a groundbreaking show that captured hearts with its humor, heart, and powerful social messages. But have you ever wondered what happened to the beloved cast after the cameras stopped rolling? From Jimmie Walker's unforgettable Dy-no-mite to Esther Rolle's powerful presence as Florida Evans, we're bringing you an exclusive look at the stars of Good Times, then and now, in 2025. See how time has treated each member of the cast, learn surprising facts about their lives and careers after the show, and witness how their legacy continues to inspire new generations. Jeanette Du Bois, who portrayed the vivacious and gossip-loving neighbor Willona Woods, was 36 years old in 1974 when Good Times first aired. Her character brought humor and flair, often serving as a confidant and surrogate mother to the Evans children. Off-screen, Du Bois struggled with personal demons. She married jazz musician Sajid Gupta, a union filled with infidelities and emotional estrangement. They had 2 children, Yovan and Raj Christo, whose relationships with their mother were marked by long periods of silence and tension. After her time on Good Times, Du Bois found work sporadically, facing typecasting and industry indifference. She poured much of her remaining energy into songwriting and theater, but these ventures never brought financial success. Among the many tragedies of her life was the sudden death of her son Raj in 1987, which sent her into a deep depression. She also battled severe loneliness, anxiety, and a lifelong struggle with heart issues. Though she received acclaim for co-writing and singing the theme song to The Jeffersons, the royalties were far less than expected. In her later years, she lived alone in Glendale, California, where she passed away from cardiac arrest on February 17, 2020, at the age of 74. Her estate was estimated at just under $150,000. Ralph Carter, who portrayed Michael Evans, the youngest son, known for his idealistic views and intelligence, was only 13 in 1974. His character was deeply engaged with social issues, mirroring Carter's own passion for activism. However, Carter's post-Good Times life was marked by disappointment. Despite releasing a few singles and performing on Broadway, his career never recaptured the spotlight. He married Lisa Parks in 1987, and they had 3 children, Tyra, Kyle, and Raven, but the marriage ended in a bitter divorce in 2003. Allegations of emotional neglect and financial mismanagement plagued the proceedings. Carter faded from the public eye, working as a schoolteacher for many years, though he privately struggled with alcoholism and bouts of depression. Financial woes accumulated as he made poor real estate investments in the 1990s, leaving him near bankruptcy. He now lives in a modest apartment in New York, reportedly surviving on a fixed pension and rare royalties. Though now 63 years old, Carter remains reclusive, having severed ties with former cast members and family alike. His net worth is estimated to be under $50,000. Bernadette Stanis, who played the graceful and intelligent Thelma Evans, was 20 when she landed the role that defined her early career. Viewers admired Thelma's beauty and wisdom, often calling her the heart of the Evans family. After the show's end, Stanis faced harsh realities in Hollywood, often typecast and overlooked. She married 4 times, first to high school sweetheart Thomas Fauntleroy, then to nightclub owner Terrence Redd, later to mechanical engineer Kevin Fontana, and finally to entrepreneur Reggie Johnson. All 4 marriages ended in either divorce or separation, with accusations of infidelity and financial manipulation common themes. She has 2 daughters, Dior and Brittany, with whom her relationships have been rocky, especially during her battles with clinical depression and anxiety in the 2000s. Stanis attempted a writing career with limited success and often participated in low-paying fan conventions to make ends meet. Now 71, she lives in Atlanta in a small rented house, relying on meager royalties and public speaking gigs. Her current estimated net worth is around $75,000. Jimmie J.J. Walker, who played James J.J. Evans Jr., was 27 in 1974. His role as the eldest Evans child made him a breakout star with his catchphrase, Dy-no-mite, echoing across American pop culture. Despite the fame, Walker never embraced the JJ persona, resenting the way it overshadowed his other ambitions. He never married, often claiming he never found a partner who could handle his lifestyle, though there were whispers of an intense but short-lived relationship with actress Ann Coulter in the early 2000s. Walker has no children, and many believe his solitary life is a result of emotional trauma from childhood abuse and the sudden deaths of close friends. After Good Times, his career declined, marred by poor management and failed ventures in stand-up comedy and film. He reportedly lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in a fraudulent investment scheme in the 1990s. Now 77, he lives in a modest apartment in Las Vegas, occasionally performing at comedy clubs. His net worth, once in the millions, is now estimated at only $300,000. Esther Rolle, the commanding presence behind Florida Evans, was 53 when Good Times premiered. She portrayed a firm yet loving mother who stood as a beacon of resilience. In stark contrast, Rolle's personal life was riddled with loneliness and disappointment. She was married to Oscar Robinson from 1955 to 1975, a marriage burdened by incompatibility and emotional distance. They had no children. Rolle's advocacy for more serious themes on Good Times created tension with producers and co-stars, leading to multiple hiatuses. After leaving the show, she appeared in several dramatic roles but never regained the household name status. Her later years were consumed by illness. She suffered from diabetes, high blood pressure, and eventually kidney failure. She died on November 17, 1998, at age 78, in near seclusion, reportedly disillusioned with Hollywood and its treatment of black actresses. Her estate was modest, estimated at $200,000, much of which went to cousins and a few church charities she supported quietly in her final years. John Amos, who played the hardworking father James Evans Sr., was 34 years old in 1974. His role embodied strength, discipline, and unwavering morality, earning him praise from audiences. Yet behind the scenes, Amos frequently clashed with producers over the show's direction, ultimately leading to his dismissal. After Good Times, he found some success in roles on Roots and Coming to America, but his career plateaued. Amos married actress Noelle Mickelson in the 1960s. They had 2 children, Shannon and Casey, but divorced in the 1970s due to irreconcilable differences, with Shannon later speaking publicly about a distant and sometimes volatile relationship with her father. Amos remarried twice more, both unions ending in strained separations. Throughout his life, he battled with depression, chronic back pain from old football injuries, and estrangement from his children. He passed away on August 21, 2024, at age 84 due to complications from congestive heart failure. Despite years of steady work, he died with an estimated net worth of just $250,000, having been the victim of financial mismanagement and failed investments in a ranching venture that cost him millions. Johnny Brown, beloved as the comically inept Superintendent Nathan Bookman, was 38 when he joined the show in 1975. Though his role was often played for laughs, Brown brought depth to a character many considered a foil. His life after Good Times was marked by missed opportunities. He auditioned for Saturday Night Live but lost the spot to Garrett Morris, a loss he later called one of the greatest heartbreaks of his career. Brown remained married to his wife June for over 60 years, a rare consistency in an otherwise unstable life. They had 2 children, Sharon and Johnny Jr., but Brown's long absences on the road strained those bonds. He suffered from diabetes, financial instability, and recurring depression in his later years. Acting work dried up, forcing him to rely on Social Security and minor convention appearances. Brown died on March 2, 2022, at the age of 84 from cardiac arrest. At the time of his death, his estate was valued at approximately $100,000, largely due to outstanding medical debts and the lack of residuals from his earlier TV work. Janet Jackson, who played the abused and later adopted Penny Woods, was just 11 years old when she joined the cast in 1977. Her portrayal added emotional gravity to the final seasons. However, Jackson's life would become a whirlwind of fame and inner turmoil. Her pop career skyrocketed in the 1980s, but success came with personal cost. She married James DeBarge in 1984. The marriage was annulled within a year amid reports of substance abuse and emotional volatility. Later marriages, to Rene Elizondo Jr. and Qatari businessman Wissam Al-Mana, also ended in messy divorces. She has one son, Isa, whose upbringing has been kept intensely private. Jackson has spoken openly about childhood trauma, abusive relationships, and long-term struggles with body image and depression. Her finances were once estimated in the hundreds of millions, but recent lawsuits, cancelled tours, and alimony settlements have reportedly cut her net worth to approximately $70 million. Now 58, Jackson leads a reclusive life between London and Los Angeles, rarely making public appearances except for tightly controlled events. Ben Powers, who played Keith Anderson, Thelma's ambitious football-playing husband, joined Good Times in its final season in 1978 at age 28. Initially portrayed as a loving and supportive partner, Keith's character suffered a leg injury that mirrored Powers' own painful decline after the show ended. Despite a promising start, Powers' acting career evaporated quickly, and he never again found a role with similar visibility. He married Julia Harper in 1981. The couple had 4 children, Jessica, Benjamin Jr., Marie, and Elijah, but the marriage ended in a quiet separation in the late 1990s. Friends noted Powers became increasingly withdrawn, battling clinical depression and alcoholism in isolation. He attempted to pivot to writing and producing but found little success. Financial pressures mounted after a failed mortgage scheme in 2004 left him nearly homeless. Powers died on April 6, 2015, at age 64, from liver failure exacerbated by years of substance abuse. At the time of his death, his assets were valued at less than $50,000, much of it lost to hospital bills and legal fees. Teddy Wilson, who portrayed the charismatic yet shady Sweet Daddy Williams, was 33 in 1976 when he brought flair and menace to the recurring role. Off-screen, Wilson was a warm, quiet man with ambitions of dramatic stardom. Unfortunately, he found himself pigeonholed into typecast roles and began to spiral into depression. He was married to actress Joan Pringle, and they had 2 children together, Tiana and Marcus. Though their marriage lasted until his death, it was marked by turbulence, including Teddy's extended disappearances and struggles with drug addiction. He tried to relaunch his career multiple times in the 1980s, but heart disease and increasing drug dependency hindered those attempts. By the late 80s, he was bankrupt, relying on friends for shelter and small cash advances. Wilson died on July 21, 1991, at the age of 47, from complications due to AIDS, a diagnosis he kept hidden from even his closest friends. At the time of his death, his estate was valued at under $10,000, a shocking fall from the heights he once dreamed of. Helen Martin, who brought to life the character of Weeping Wanda Williams, was 64 when Good Times premiered in 1974. Known for her exaggerated mourning at neighborhood funerals, her character was a beloved comic relief. In reality, Martin was a seasoned stage actress with a serious passion for Shakespeare and classical theater. She never married and had no children, choosing instead a solitary path that left her vulnerable to long bouts of loneliness. Despite a prolific career on stage and later in sitcoms like 227, she lived modestly and often struggled with financial insecurity. She was estranged from her siblings and lived alone in a rent-controlled apartment in Los Angeles. Helen suffered from arthritis and declining vision in her later years, relying on a caregiver after a fall in the late 1990s. She passed away on March 25, 2000, at the age of 90 due to natural causes. Her funeral was small, attended by just a handful of friends and former castmates. Her estate, comprised mostly of personal items and modest savings, was valued at approximately $80,000. Chip Fields, who portrayed both Lynella Gordon and Rochelle, joined Good Times in 1976 at the age of 24. Her performances brought a sharp edge and emotional intensity, especially in storylines dealing with Penny's abuse. Outside of the show, Fields faced emotional and financial struggles as a young mother in Hollywood. She married actor and director John Randolph, but the marriage was brief and fraught with tension over career priorities. She later raised her daughters, Kim and Alexis, largely as a single mother while balancing sporadic work in film and television. Her relationship with Kim Fields, who became a child star, was often strained by competition and the pressure of fame. Chip dealt with depression, several nervous breakdowns, and a suicide attempt in the late 80s. Though she later found peace working behind the scenes as a director and acting coach, financial success remained elusive. Now 71, she lives in modest comfort in North Carolina, relying on a small pension and family support. Her current net worth is estimated at around $100,000. Raymond Allen, known for his portrayal of the lovable drunk Ned the Wino, was 65 years old in 1974. Though his role was brief, it left a lasting impression due to Allen's brilliant mix of humor and pathos. In real life, Allen faced many personal struggles. He was married to actress Barbara Williams, with whom he had 3 children, Ray Jr., Tony, and Kelly, but the marriage ended in divorce due to his prolonged battles with alcoholism and erratic behavior. After Good Times, his health began to decline and his acting roles dried up. He spent his final 2 decades in near anonymity, often hospitalized for complications related to diabetes and congestive heart failure. His children became his primary caretakers, though relationships were strained by decades of neglect and addiction. Allen passed away on August 10, 2020, at the age of 91, after contracting a severe respiratory infection. His estate was modest, valued at roughly $30,000, and consisted mostly of Social Security income and a few collectibles kept by his family as mementos. Bubba Smith, who appeared briefly as Claude on Good Times in 1978, was 33 years old at the time. Known primarily for his football career and later for roles in the Police Academy films, Smith's presence on Good Times was small but memorable. Despite his athletic fame and film success, Smith's life unraveled in tragic ways. He never married, citing a mistrust of long-term relationships after a bitter breakup with a college sweetheart. He fathered one son, Malik, from a short-lived affair, but they remained estranged for most of Smith's life. Following a series of injuries from his football career, he developed a dependency on pain medication and began exhibiting erratic behavior. By the 2000s, he was involved in multiple lawsuits over unpaid debts and fraudulent real estate schemes. Smith was found dead on August 3, 2011, at age 66 from acute drug intoxication caused by a combination of weight loss drugs and painkillers. At the time of his death, his estate was valued at $500,000, but most of it was tied up in legal disputes and unpaid taxes, leaving little for his surviving son. Who is your favorite character from Good Times? How does it feel knowing that some of the actors are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future uploads. Thank you for your support.